Westerosi History 101. The First Men. The first race of humans to migrate to Westeros are known as the First Men, who arrived during the Dawn Age, approximately 12,000 BC. Chapters in Game of Thrones begin in 298 AC. Like all humans, the First Men originally came over from Essos, crossing over via the land bridge, referred to as the Arm of Dorne. The First Men pushed from the south all the way to the north, and according to legend, all the way to the west to the Iron Islands, where they happened to discover the Sea Stone Chair. While the First Men were the first humans to settle Westeros, they were not the first people to live there. The Children of the Forest and giants had lived there for an unknown numbers of years prior to the arrival of humans. War between the Children of the Forest and the First Men began when weirwood trees, held sacred by the Children of the Forest, were cut down. According to legends, the children used dark magics to shatter the Arm of Dorne into the island chain now called the Stepstones. It is in this time period that the First Men established some of the structures we see in A Song of Ice and Fire. Moat Cailin in the Neck was built approximately in 10,000 BC. The children also later attempted to shatter Westeros in half, the same way they shattered the Arm of Dorne in the Neck, but this wasn't as successful and only managed to flood the area, creating bogs and swamps. Eventually, a peace agreement, known as the Pact between the First Men and the Children of the Forest, was agreed upon. This agreement brought an end to the wars and divided up the lands. The First Men were given the coastlands, plains, mountains, and bogs, while the children were given dominion over the forests, and also were promised that from that moment on, no weirwoods were to ever be cut down again. Faces were carved into all the trees on the island so the gods could witness the pact, and this is how the Isle of Faces got its name. The event also marked the end of the Dawn Age and the beginning of the Age of Heroes. The peace brought about by the Pact lasted for approximately 4,000 years. It is during this age that the First Men adopted the religion of the Children of the Forest, creating godswoods by carving faces into weirwoods, making them into hearts trees. It was also the Children of the Forest who showed the First Men how to send messages via ravens, although according to legends, the ravens would actually speak the messages they were delivering, as the children could warg into the creatures and speak through them. The pact between the First Men and the children proved so strong that the two sides united during the Long Night to drive back the others. This resulted in the establishment of the Night's Watch and the construction of the Wall sometime between 8,000 BC and 6,000 BC. The legacy and impact of the First Men is seen in A Song of Ice and Fire, as the wildlings and giants still speak in the old tongue which was used by the First Men. Additionally, the ring fort used by Jon Snow and Sam, called the Fist of the First Men, is another trace of the legacy of the First Men. Other ruins of these forts are the Seal Rock at White Harbor and also upon Sea Dragon Point. Additionally, runes were occasionally carved into the stones or onto pieces of armor. House Royce, which traces its lineage all the way back to the First Men, is said to have a suit of bronze armor covered in runes that is thousands of years old and supposedly prevents all harm from coming to the person wearing it. Perhaps most significantly are the cultural traditions still practiced to this day. The laws of hospitality and guest right, as well as delivering the killing blow when passing sentence upon a criminal by the judge, are both practices honored by House Stark and the North at the beginning of the story. Another tradition practiced by the First Men that seems to have died out is the practice of burying your dead in barrows. This was such a widespread practice at one point that the North has a section called Barrowtown, and barrows can be found scattered all throughout the north. Many of the noble houses of Westeros have ties to the First Men. House Stark, House Blackwood, Bracken, Dane, Redfort, and the Westerlings can all trace their lineages back to the First Men. Ultimately, however, the pact between the First Men and the Children of the Forest was broken sometime between 4000 BC and 2000 BC when the Andals invaded from Essos. But that's another video.